You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible.
R. Kelly was arrested on federal sex crimes charges in Chicago. New York Police Department officers and Homeland Security arrested him yesterday evening. It was a 13-count indictment. Was handed down in federal court, including charges of child pornography, enticement of a minor, and obstruction of justice. A bail hearing is scheduled for early next week. At a press conference this morning, R. Kelly's crisis manager and Joycelyn Savage parents shared words. Take a look.
Charges a decade ago.
Oh, get all that, bro. Where's my daughter at?
The same charges he had before
is in there right now in jail. I want to know where my daughter is. Where is she at? Answer that question.
This killer was arrested yesterday.
Answer that question.
Walking his dogs yesterday.
Move.
After he walked his dogs, he was arrested. The Northern District of Illinois and the Eastern District of
I want to sit here and
New York. He's in Cook County right now. He's been held. He's probably going to be arraigned sometime today. He's probably going to have his bond hearing sometime next week. Any questions?
I got a question. Where's my daughter at? Where's Joycelyn Savage? We don't want to come to hear your lies. Where our daughter at?
Let me talk. First of all, I know nothing.
You don't know nothing.
You going to answer my question?
I'm going to let you answer.
Okay,
go ahead.
But you got to be quiet and let me talk.
Answer it.
First of all, your daughter, I have nothing to do with your daughter.
We know, but
hold up a second.
Hold
up a second.
Hold up. We was at the Trump Tower yesterday.
I was not at Trump Tower.
I said we was at Trump Tower yesterday. She wasn't there well-being check.
Okay, so come on. I ain't moved nobody.
No, you're a part of his camp, right?
I'm not a part of his camp.
Why are you speaking for him right now?
Hold on a second. Let me explain something to you right quick.
Are you speaking for him right now?
Let me explain something to you right quick, because I'm not going to allow you to come in and interrupt my press conference.
No.
Listen.
What do you mean?
Let's be intelligent. Wait.
Hold up.
Are y'all going to let me answer the question?
Go ahead.
First of all, Mr. Kelly, I haven't been in Chicago in a week. Okay?
Hold up. Let him talk.
Nope. Y'all going to let me answer my questions?
Go ahead.
Okay. Y'all coming at me as if I have your daughter.
No.
I'm not. Hold up a second. I'm not a part of any camp. I am a contract worker who's hired to do a job. No different from these people with these cameras right here.
So who hired?
Hold on a second. I don't work for Mr. Kelly.
Who hired?
I work for Mr. Stephen Greenberg. Okay? Now, hold up a second. I haven't been paid.
Are you not a good
Hold
friend?
up a second.
Let him talk.
I have not been paid one dime. I foot my own weight. I do my own thing.
We're not worried about
Hold on a second.
You don't care about
Hold up one second. You guys came and stormed the press conference. Here's where we are. Now, let me say this right here. I have much sympathy for you guys. I haven't been around here. I just got here 6 months ago. Whatever you guys went through, you guys been through that. That was long before me. I have nothing to do with anything anybody told you in the past what happened. I tried to negotiate. Some of you guys, it didn't work out. Now, I personally don't know your daughter. I met your daughter 6 times. I've seen her in and out of Trump Towers. I haven't seen anything that I would say is suspicious or harmful to your daughter. Zero. Okay? Now, the person you should be addressing this to is Mr. Kelly and Mr. Kelly's attorney.
Wow. Joining us on our panel in studio is Dr. Cleo Manago, socio-political analyst and an activist, Mustafa Santiago Ali, former senior advisor for environmental justice, EPA, myself, Teresa Lundy, founder and principal of TML Communications, and Robert Patalo, Esquire, civil rights attorney. Gentlemen.
Well, I think what we're seeing with the R. Kelly case is that we have to segment this into different sections. We had the initial arrest and investigation from a few months ago. Those were probably the weakest of the charges, the ones brought in Cook County. Those are the ones who were just kind of inspired by the documentary on Lifetime. These subsequent charges that have come hereafter, however, are significantly more serious, particularly given the fact that these are federal charges with federal investigators. It's a whole different ball game litigating cases against your local DA or against your county prosecutor, your state's attorney, versus going against the federal government. On that indictment, it says United States of America versus R. Kelly. That's way different than Cook County versus R. Kelly.
Right.
The only thing at this point that could derail this investigation or this prosecution by the government against Mr. Kelly is people like the Savage family. These people who try to turn this into a spectacle, to try to turn this into a reality show. When you're storming press conferences, because if I'm R. Kelly's lawyer, I am taking that footage right there and I am going to go into court. I'm going to say this is just part of the spectacle that they're trying to railroad my client. That's what this Lifetime documentary series was about. This is all extortion. Even given the indictment from the federal government, it says that some of these quote unquote victims' families took GMC Yukons in exchange for their daughters. They took overseas trips in exchange for their daughters. Right. They took cash payments in exchange for giving their minor daughters over to an older man for sexual purposes and not testifying against them at trial. So they have to trust the process if they are actually seeking justice. If you want a conviction, trust the federal government to convict Mr. Kelly. If you want a reality series on VH1, act like that in public.
Cleo, what's your thoughts?
Well, he pretty much mentioned much of what I had in mind in terms of what I was. This is federal now, and they don't play, and he is highly likely to get some prison time with the feds being involved. And I also was going to mention that the lawyers for Kelly could use this footage and say, see how unstable her family is, see what kind of climate she would have been in if she was still around, and why she avoids them. And she's an adult person who has chosen to be in my life, in my experience, and just part of what she was trying to get away from. So I agree with what he was saying in terms of how this could be used against them. But again, clearly he's been tracked. I'm talking about Kelly now, and watched, because the first thing didn't work, and somebody wanted to make sure that something worked. And now that the feds involved, it's likely to work. He mentioned that he might be getting out soon. He implied that. I'm not sure about that.
Now, Mustafa, this is the second time around for R. Kelly. What next?
Well, I grew up and I enjoyed his music when I was growing up. But I also do realize that there are 20 years of charges or 20 years of accusations of things that are going on. And we should also deal with the facts of what's going on a global scale. And be very aware of that, because many women of color are the ones that are being impacted from both human trafficking across the planet. There are over 40 million people who are caught up in the human trafficking sort of paradigm that's going on. In our country, we know that every 9 minutes a child is sexually abused. We have hundreds of thousands of folks who are sexually abused in our country every year. So that, just to put in context this situation that we're dealing with. And now also we've got the energy of Jeffrey Epstein and what he's done. And each person has to, of course, be judged on the merits of their case. But there is this atmosphere that's going on right now where we've got a lot of people who unfortunately are being accused of sexual misconduct, of trafficking, of all these various types of things. And as the brother said, let the process play out, let the courts do what the courts do. And then we'll find out what the analysis is as we move forward.
And just a last point for me, I think that while we get, we like the spectacle of seeing the R. Kelly arrest, we like the spectacle of seeing Epstein being taken down, we have to also, as a community, take this to the ground level. You have to talk about that uncle. You have to talk about that stepfather, that mom's boyfriend, who may be doing the same thing and who the family doesn't want to talk about. Don't condemn R. Kelly and not condemn the people in your own orbit who you have the power to influence and control, and not take them to task also.
And I want to say that, because this keeps on being male-focused, which it should in terms of proportion, but there's women involved in human trafficking. There's women molesting boys. You ever heard of the show Anton Fisher, the film Anton Fisher? And Anton Fisher, I mentioned it because it's one of the rare film versions of this phenomena of a woman molesting a boy. So the trafficking is occurring and it's affecting both boys and girls, though it's disproportionately women and female. There's definitely boys involved.
Yeah, it's 80%. 80% of women and girls are the ones, and then, as the brother said, 20% are of the other sex who are being unfortunately.
And I think overall as a community, I obviously the dialogue needs to open up more in the black community, right? Because I think even when we saw in the documentary when a bunch of the mothers and their daughters and they all had this, the scenery, I like to call it, set with the black background and everybody's all emotional. But where were you when your daughter, was actually reaching out to R. Kelly when he was requesting their parents at the party, and all these other clubs. So I think there's some responsibility in the household that we really need to take in consideration. But for this case in point, I'm looking forward to seeing, what the verdict is. So as we talk about, R. Kelly and some of the and his role as a R&B artist and maybe, maybe his presence in the black community. Robert, I'm going to bring this to you. How can we, learn from what he has brought? Obviously, music, he's been great, but maybe this situation as a whole to have a broader conversation.
Well, I think the broader conversation is kind of what we touched on earlier, which is addressing these things within the family, addressing these things within the community, not allowing them to just metastasize to the point of, well, celebrities doing it, so now it's important. That, as the brother said, when you have 80% of young girls or 80% of people who are involved in sex trafficking or molestation being our young girls, those aren't all being done by R. Kelly and Jeffrey Epstein and celebrities. These are brothers, cousins, uncles, stepbrothers, mama's boyfriend, so on and so forth. And often they never speak out. One of the biggest benefits of the Me Too movement was these things coming out to light, people having conversations about them, people having family conversations, and finding out just how prevalent it is within our society and within our communities. And we have to keep that going. No longer shame young girls for being victims.
Right.
Stop calling girls fast.
Right.
Stop calling girls hot.
Right.
Stop saying, well, don't walk around them little shorts, them old men gonna talk to you. Talk to the old man about talking to the little girl.
Right.
Instead of talking to the little girl about the shorts she's wearing. Maintain our children's innocence and allow them to grow up to be the people they need to be, because often they're scarred for life or scarred for generations because they take what happened to them out on the next generation. And that goes for our young daughters, it goes for our young boys.
Right.
Something me and Cleo talked about on Facebook a while ago is like we have to stop excusing this kind of auntie culture where they say, oh boy, as soon as you grow up, if you were my age, I sure would take you somewhere. You almost grown.
For the young women, you can be a model.
Yeah. Let them be kids.
Right.
Let kids be kids.
Right.
Just take your own freaky old people sexual desires. Go down to Essence Fest with that.
I agree. Don't go to Essence Fest. Don't go to Essence Fest.
That's
there's another issue.
Listen, guys.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. MarijuanaStock.org is another great investment opportunity. If you were lucky enough to invest in their last crowdfunding campaign, you, of course, now know that those folks are invested in a publicly traded company. They raised a ton of money in a few months investing in legal marijuana farms. Now, of course, they have a new investment opportunity, which is as good or if not even better. I'm talking about industrial hemp CBD. For those who don't know, the hemp plant is the cousin to marijuana with a much higher concentration of CBD, which means hemp CBD gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Now, until recently, hemp farming was practically illegal in the U.S. and heavily regulated by the DEA. However, the 2018 Farm Bill changed all of that, making it legal to grow hemp CBD in the U.S. and creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. They need land to grow all the plants, which makes for an incredible investment opportunity. And that's where our good friends at 420 Real Estate come in. Their business model is real simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to high-paying tenants. That's right, they are hemp CBD landlords. And you can get in on the action. You can invest in the crowdfunding campaign for as little as $200 up to $10,000. Like I said, you may not want to miss out this opportunity. Go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org to get the game and to do it now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.